Evening, folks. Welcome to the Leeds View podcast for the second podcast of this week. We do these twice a week, usually on a Tuesday and a Thursday, but it's Monday and Thursday this week. And we do daily Leeds United news from Monday to Friday. And we're part of the Sports Social Podcasting Network. If you want to check us out on the audio platforms, you can give us a channel rating and a review as well. And if you're on YouTube, you can subscribe and like the video to help the channel to grow. Also, we've got a partnership with OK Jerseys, 8% off at your checkout using the code TV. Details for that are down below in the description. Right, contractual obligations out of the way. I am delighted to be joined by a man that I watch an awful lot of. And I know everybody else who watches this channel tends to consume a lot of his content as well. And no better person to talk to about the championship and what it will look like potentially next year, or championship clubs coming into the Premier League next season, depending on where Leeds eventually end up falling. But yeah, delighted to have Benjamin Bloom with me. And again, all Ben's details are down below in the description as well. I highly recommend going and checking it out. Ben, first things first, how are you doing, mate? How's things? Thanks for coming on.
I'm good, mate. I'm a bit worried there's going to be some suspicion as to why I'm here. And I like the fact that you ended that intro by saying championship teams who could be joining Leeds in the Premier League next season. Should we roll with that?
Yeah, let's roll with that. I'm at the point where I'm having my end of season wobble that I have this time every year, whether it's going up or coming down.
You're a Leeds fan, mate. It's inherent in all of you, I think.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's that constant pessimism of it's gonna go wrong, isn't it? It's happening again. Yeah, it's there in all of us. But I've had a good look at the championship this year as well. I tried the first half of the year to completely ignore that it ever existed after the last couple of seasons, but I found myself kind of dipping back in and having a look at it. And is it safe to say the championship has been a bit of a nut house this year? It's just not gone the way everyone thought it might go at the start of the season. You're looking at Coventry sitting comfortably top of the league at this point. I know Southampton and Ipswich have kind of started to sort things out a little bit to make it look a bit more normal. But you've got Leicester sitting second from bottom and Sheffield United plonked in the middle of the table. It's a bit crazy this year.
Look, it's crazy every year, isn't it? As you guys know only too well from the recent times there. I mean, you could have argued a couple of months ago it looked a lot crazier. I think Southampton, being a spare year one parachute team, now being in the top six after last night's win, makes it look a little. I mean, look, one man's crazy is another man's. The opposite is another man's boring, isn't it? If you you have it going with the money. So if you then say that Leicester are an outlier and that it's just an insane situation there, and you've got two of the year one parachute teams high up, and then Sheffield United is the other one, and there's every chance they'll finish in the top half. They're obviously a year two parachute team, and that has obviously opened the door up for Coventry and Middlesbrough to be the top two. I guess if you're a Leeds fan and you haven't been following it, you're looking at fourth and fifth, Millwall and Hull, and thinking, "Oh crikey, that's not what was on the bingo card." But let's just hold fire, because everyone judges it on the three that ultimately go up, don't they? That's the thing. And let's be fair, we're talking about, do relegated parachute teams get promoted or not is normally the case study. Yeah. And I mean, look, Coventry are pretty nailed on to finish either first or second and go up. So there's going to be one go through, but you could still get Ipswich and Southampton both go up. The predictable ending that football fans tend to not like.
Yeah, and you're looking at that. Obviously, Ipswich are your club of choice, but you've got a game in hand. You win that game.
Not of choice. I had it forced on me, Joe.
We all did. None of us pick Leeds by choice unless you were born in Leeds. So yeah, it's been pushed onto us by other people. But yeah, you've got a game in hand, so you get a win there. You go into second place, and again, it starts to look kind of more normal. A lot of Leeds fans aren't overly thrilled about the prospect of Frank Lampard bringing a side into the Premier League from our history with Frank. But you got Wrexham and Southampton scrapping for sixth place as well. Looked like Wrexham might do a bit of a surprise, but Southampton have been on an absolute tearaway of form over the last 12 games or so. So, yeah, what's going on with Leicester? Like, what's the situation there? Can you see a world where Leicester actually get relegated this year? I mean, I know they're second bottom, but there's not a huge points gap between them and probably finishing comfortably lower half table.
Well, I realise this is a prickly subject, because if Leicester's what language can I use to keep us safe here? Financial, can I say skullduggery, I guess, in the 23-24 season hadn't happened, Leeds get promoted and don't sell Archie Gray Georgie Ruta and Chris Somerville. So I know this is a touchy subject, and rightly so. But it's been, I don't know, 5 or 6 years of just compounding bad financial management at Leicester. I have, don't shoot me down in the comments, I have an iota of sympathy because this all starts with the glass ceiling of PSR and Leicester trying to essentially compete with the teams right at the top of the Premier League with a 30,000 seater stadium and, Leicester's history and Leicester's TV, draw and fan base. But then it goes into some very bad signings, paying too much in wages. And I guess the thing that really would cheese off Leeds fans is the kind of contempt that they approach the actual laws and, things like not submitting accounts to presumably keep them away from prying eyes, and then going signing a load of players in the Championship, winning the division. And again, I reiterate, Leeds were left holding the baby, weren't they, in third position. My lot were a bloody nuisance because we had a unicorn season and somehow managed to go straight from League One to finish second. But we're not the villains here in this particular piece. And then, you get another bounce, and I think it smarted with a lot of people that they then got promoted, and, one man's badly written piece of sort of legislation is another man's loophole, isn't it? Fine. Judge that what you will. I think normal, everyday working people like you and me would tend to view it as, oh, this is rich, wealthy people who can afford expensive lawyers getting away with stuff, isn't it? And but let's not go into that kind of, that moves us right away from football down another road. But no, they've come back down. I would be very surprised if they're not under some kind of business plan from the word go at the start of the season, because they just didn't sign anybody, haven't spent a fee on anybody. And this ownership has clearly shown that they will try whatever they can. And I would think they've been closely watched. If you remember Reading when Leeds were in the Championship, like literally if Reading wanted to buy a bag of balls, they had to run it by the EFL, So I'd imagine they're being closely watched. Obviously, the points deduction has come down. And then what you've had on the pitch is a group of players, a lot of them are out of contract and leaving at the end of the season who, I don't want to question anyone's integrity, but if you're not going to be there next season, are you probably more concerned about your career, which is understandable, isn't it? If you've worked your backside off to become an elite sportsman. And here we are. You guys will remember Marty Cifuentes from being the QPR manager and that awful night you had at Loftus Road, which basically gave Ipswich the impetus in the promotion race. But he couldn't get a tune out of these guys. And you now have the perfect storm. And this happened to Gary Rowett before, where you've got a rising tide. It's probably going to take 48, 49 points, maybe more to be safe. And Leicester are second bottom with 8 games to go, with Oxford on a bit of a tear, West Brom improving. And then you start to look at Pompey and Blackburn. So absurd. I would have, if you told me at the start of the season, oh, I think Leicester will go down, I'd be like, what are you talking about? This is a ridiculous suggestion. But no, it is very, very real. And I understand why it won't be greeted with many tears in this particular corner of the internet. I get it.
Yeah, I don't want to see them next season. Should the worst case scenario happen and we end up there, it'd be great if they weren't in the league next season. So, yeah, it is. I mean, you talk about form guide as well. I mean, Leicester have got 1 win in their last 5. Oxford, 3 wins in their last 5. But then you look up the table and Preston are dropping like a rock. You've got Portsmouth there as well. But I won't lie. I have been watching the Championship over the last couple of weeks, and I've been watching West Brom's results with a lot of interest, just to make sure that they keep just tipping away to stay above Leicester there as well. So yeah, there'll be no tears if they do. I did think, and I was going down conspiracy rabbit holes, I did think that the points deduction they got this season was just that 1 point shy of having an actual impact on what would have happened this season with Leeds United. And does that avoid any potential legal issues further down the road of if they've been deducted 10 points Do Leeds have a case for loss of earnings, that kind of stuff?
I
But again,
think that was all dealt with at the time. I think they managed to kind of tie that all up so you couldn't go back retrospectively. But obviously, everyone is going to say, hang on a minute, what happened during that season where you were, quote, out of jurisdiction? Oh, I can see who the big losers were there.
Yeah. I was thinking back to when Leeds got relegated and Everton's points deduction coming a year later and going, well, there was money there as well.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we've had a couple of years of it, but we're not bitter. We're okay.
Oh,
We've gotten over it.
I get it, and it's difficult because it is a race to the bottom with these type of things. It's like you can always find something that's gone against your club in not very lucky circumstances, and I just think, not to go on a complete football finances thing, but the sooner we can get towards some kind of real time reporting, and right, this is what we're projecting, this is what we're spending this season. Here's all the money. Here it is in the accounts, and this is what we're going to do. And you can't breach that. And if you do, punishment this season, and then we wipe the slate clean at the end of every season. So we're not sat here having a discussion, especially given how good Somerville now has been for West Ham.
Yeah.
Leeds fans are going to be thinking, well, that was the player that you brought into the country, developed, got him moving in the Championship, and you have to sell because of the non-promotion.
Yeah, a player that I was hoping would just, dial it in for the rest of the season and maybe get a move away in the summer. Same with Nottingham Forest players thinking this is your get out of jail free card time, and they're not just yet. But next season's going to be interesting. We have obviously SCR model comes in for Premier League. We won't do a finance podcast, as Ben said, because we keep that sexy topic for the middle of the summer to talk about. But we are looking at two different models next season: PSR in the Championship, SCR in the Premier League. SCR over a 12-month period, but it could be a very different looking Championship next season. Now, the reason we're doing this and the reason we're having this conversation is Leeds currently sit 3 points above the relegation zone. We have the games to stay in the Premier League if you look at the run-in versus the rivals around us, but you never know what will happen. So this is a what-if moment in the league of if we were to drop into the Championship next season, what are Leeds United looking at? So one of the questions I've got for you on this, Ben, is I watched your promotion videos and I've watched your relegation videos, and you've been a bit non-committal on some of them, and I want to pin you down on what
That's
you
not
think.
like me.
Just that last one space where I was like, who's he going to say goes there? And you're like,
Oh
leave
my
it to next. I
God.
was like, I wanted to know. So what do you think the Championship looks like next season? And if Leeds were to drop into it, are you looking at the likes of, say, Sheffield United, if Leicester stay up, self-riding themselves over the course of the summer and getting back to where they were like maybe last year and competing at the top end of it? Southampton as well, if they don't manage to go up. And obviously next season, the Championship has got 2 additional playoff spaces being added to it as well. So the league will look a little bit different. There'll be a lot more teams with a lot more to play for a longer period of time over next season as well. If you were a Leeds fan looking at your side dropping into the Championship, and I am saying if because someone's going to say we haven't gone down, I'm like, would you be concerned going into it next season, or would you be looking at it going, we've got enough to bounce straight back out of this?
The latter, really. I think club size counts for a lot, and even Leeds would obviously come down with a year 1 parachute payment were they to get relegated. I don't know whether they would come down with a 3-time title-winning Championship manager who knows the league better than anybody, or not. But I know managers that get relegated tend to lose jobs. But do I want Daniel Farke or not want Daniel Farke managing my Championship team? I probably want him managing my Championship, which is a weird thing to try and get your head around, because ultimately, if it's the binary, the razor of success or failure is staying in the Premier League, then he would have failed, So there's that side to it as well. We know Leeds are hugely dominant in terms of commercial revenues, and I mean they're the TV company's dream at Championship level, aren't they? Just in terms of the amount of eyeballs that and I've seen the numbers, and we're talking multiple X of other clubs in terms of TV viewers when, every Saturday lunchtime at 12:30, I'm sure you love those kickoff times repeatedly. But So you would think in a situation where Leeds are vaguely calm and vaguely stable, and this is not a strength of Leeds United, I have to say, over the years, that they would be a hot favourite to, be in the top two. Obviously, a lot depends on who they would come down with, because if you do get a Spurs or a West Ham, then there's every sense that you're playing for second place. But it's likely to be, as you've discussed in my non-committal video, a Wolves and a Burnley. And I don't know. I would think right now most Leeds fans would be confident in that regard, that they would be able to finish above those. And I think that, look, to be honest, let's just correct what I just said. It's going to be either Leeds, West Ham, Spurs. I mean, Spurs would just be sensational, wouldn't it? But I guess the one thing you guys haven't come across in the Championship yet is the heavy American money at Wrexham and at Birmingham. They're both going to be good next season. And there's going to be Leeds fans going, well, if Leeds are going to drop, then get Ipswich and Southampton out of there. You'd hope that they would both get promoted this season, which I would be a big fan of, obviously, for selfish reasons. But the likelihood is you're going to get one of those two teams will probably still be there, unless one goes automatic and one wins the playoffs. That feels possible, but, less likely than more likely. And then you're right about Leicester, but I just don't, even if they stay in the Championship, I just don't see them immediately resetting. I mean, that would be the fated luck of God knows what if they all of a sudden reset, brought in an entirely new squad and a manager took them straight back up the table. I just couldn't see that happening. And I don't think there's massive threats in League One. I think Lincoln are doing an amazing job, and Cardiff will be back, albeit with the same owners. And then you could get a Bolton. Someone like Stockport would be a nuisance because they've got money, but are Leeds scared of Stockport? It's like, no. So, no, you would, on the basis of probability, be very optimistic that Leeds would be finishing first or second should the worst happen. But then if there's a new manager, what I will say is it doesn't feel like if they do go down the previous relegation where there's you'll name the players, Sinistera, I think
Rocker,
okay,
all of them. They all had the extra clauses.
All went out, and then Aronson went on loan, didn't he?
Forward did as well. Harrison,
I don't think there'll be that circus, and I think it'll be a lot more staid. But I assume they would sack Daniel Farke if they relegated, would they?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I think we'd all said if Farke finished the season as manager of Leeds this year, then Leeds have had a good season and probably stayed in the Premier League. But I think you're probably right as well. If you're
Can I add a little bit more source to my question? What happens if they get relegated with like 39 points and they're really unlucky?
It'll be very Daniel Farke and very Leeds after getting the 90 points in the Championship and not getting promoted. Like it'd be a very lazy Farke thing to happen. It's a very valid point, because are there any other managers that you would bring in that would guarantee you nearly getting out the Championship first crack at it? I mean, Farke that was the reason he was brought in the first place. So yeah, you don't, and he's got another year in his contract. They haven't extended it, but he's got another year after this season on his contract. So maybe, but yeah, it would upset a lot of people. There's quite a lot of people who don't even like Daniel Farke right now, so it would upset a lot of people. It's an interesting one, a hypothetical. Hopefully that doesn't happen. And we don't have to talk about
our conversation here is judging him at Championship level, where
he's failed.
He is. Yeah,
that's the job, isn't it? Job is keep Leeds United in the Premier League. So if he doesn't do that, then ultimately, then you didn't do what you were paid to do, and off you go. But
he's unmatched at Championship level. It's a real weird paradigm, isn't it? Yeah.
Just keep tossing the coin and coming up with the same answer. Yeah, it doesn't work. But yeah, it is. It's really, really interesting, and it's from an investment perspective as well. You'd wonder about that, because obviously the model is essentially a venture capitalist model with a load of famous people who've dumped money into this. Leeds go down, the value of the club drops, and they don't get their money back down the road. So stadium being redeveloped in the summer as well, that starts in the summer. The only interesting thing for me is Leeds didn't sell the squad that they had that got them promoted. Like, they're all there. They're all still there. So should the worst case scenario have, they've got sellable assets in the players that have come in this year and done really well, even if they do go down 39 points. And then you've pretty much got last year's squad essentially still sitting there ready to just step in. So the overturn of players is shorter. There's no takeover happening in the summer. There's no owner trying to sell the ground to finance a different buy of another club in Italy at the same time. So it's a much calmer ship going down and more stable ownership. But yeah, fingers crossed that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that was the difference in the end, because while that was all going on, Ipswich and Leicester were winning 9 out of their first 11 games or something.
Yeah, and we were going down to Birmingham with Joe Gelhardt playing in midfield.
Up top, yeah. Good player, but yeah,
what a season this year, yeah.
Well, and then you bloody turn up at Portman Road, don't you, with Sinistera, Piru, Nonto and Ruter, I think. No, I think Nonto came up.
That was the turnaround.
Yeah, that was the front four, that wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Nonto had gone on strike at the start of that season as well because he wanted to move to Everton, and yeah, that was another problem. But anyway, yeah, that scenario doesn't happen again, whether in the Championship or not. That I can't see that happening again. And I do think that they've kept the squad as is and haven't sold those players just as a contingency plan, just in case. And I think there's good forward planning in that. Then the flip side to this, Leeds stay up. That's the preferred option here. And you're looking at the likes of, let's say, and I think Ipswich will go up in the automatic spaces. Let's say Coventry and Ipswich go up automatically. Southampton have a good track record with playoff wins. So Southampton, why not? We're being friends here. Let's do that. Let's be nice. So up you go. And then Southampton join you in the playoffs. So we get two sides that are been in and around the Premier League for a couple of years. Do you see a scenario then the Premier League next season where, like, and again, assuming Leeds stay up, they replicate the model that Sunderland and Leeds have done this season where they stay in the league, or do they go back to the old trend of promoted sides will come straight back down and there'll be a huge gulf between them and the sides above them?
I don't think it has to be one or the other, doesn't it? It felt like maybe it was extreme on the other way for a couple of years. Obviously, I think we had like 6 in a row drop, and we're all of a sudden talking about the 17, and that is a self-exacerbating problem, isn't it? Because if you have 17 that stay, while they're staying, they're getting richer, which makes the chasm even bigger. I think we said, well, I think everybody says it, if you just stay up that first season, avoid the churn, avoid having to sell a load of your star assets, go 2 straight years of whatever number we're pulling out of our backside now, 120 million, which I don't know, whatever number people come up with now for 1 year of Premier League TV money. I suppose it helps Leeds that it would be Coventry, because that will be tough. And I think the thing Ipswich found as well, even competing with the likes of a Leeds or a Leicester or a Southampton, is your infrastructure is just not there when you haven't been on this gravy train. And even things like player salaries and wage bills, Coventry have done magnificently, but they're literally going to have to rewrite their business from, every single aspect. And you don't blame people for having let's bank the money. Let's do our absolute best here. Let's try and, push ourselves up into what Norwich sporting director Stuart Webber, former, described as the top 26, because there is a little halfway between where if you've got the parachute money and, you can't pay 100 grand a week, but you're starting to pay halfway in between what Championship would be. And the club I've just described can't compete with Leeds United, who have been up for 1 season at that point. I suppose Ipswich and Southampton would be a bit more of a nuisance, but and this is not I have to acknowledge all of this stuff. This is not a Ipswich-led comment, but there's more of a sense of growth around Ipswich than Southampton because of the yo-yoing, and they'd come from, I think, 11 years in the Premier League, and I think Ipswich is still on that upward trend I've talked about that Coventry will presumably try and do. But then you could have a Sunderland situation where they just recruit brilliantly, the manager performs brilliantly, you have an incredible first half of the season and bank all the points then, and you're safe. But you would imagine on the basis of probability, I would say things would get 50% easier for Leeds if they stay up next season than it is this season. I don't. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think Leeds have to stay in the Premier League. Full stop this season. I think they have to. There's no version of this I think where it works out well if Leeds go down. You can see investment walking away because the long-term investment isn't going to be there anymore. I think the business model falls down. Now I know Leeds' initial goal of the season was 17th, and I spoke to people like Andy Cousins during the summer from who played for Leeds about this as well, and everyone said the same thing. Jermaine Beckford as well. We take 17th right now. Like day one, give us 17th. We're guaranteed to have another crack at another year. It has leaked out that the Leeds United model, apparently, according to the Daily Mail, that Leeds model was 17th this year, 16th next year, 15th, and just to gradually just keep moving up the league. It's a bit too close for comfort for me. I'd like to see us to be a bit more ambitious to get up to the mid-table brackets. I'd love a few seasons of mid-table mediocrity, of no drama, no problems, just sitting comfortably mid-table for a year or two. But it's Leeds, so I'm never going to get that. But I think they have to stay up. And I think ideally for Leeds, again, the Coventry would have to replicate what Sunderland have done literally to a T year to try and make sure that they stayed up there. But Ipswich have had that experience of the Premier League. So I think going in there, they're more prepared for it. Stronger squad as well. Southampton, I think, could close that gap a little bit as well, although I think they'd probably go back down again. But
it's a bit more of a question mark about the Southampton ownership and what's happened since they've been in. It's been a bit of a downward trend. Obviously, they had a promotion, as you lot found out at Wembley, didn't they? You know, there's that tick in the box, I guess, but then everyone will turn around and say, well, year one parachute team finishing fourth and winning the playoffs is the bare minimum expectation given the financial advantage you've got in that situation.
Yeah, it does. And again, only having that year out of it as well, I think helps them as well with the adjustment period. So, yeah, I'd love to see a Millwall or Hull City come up as
Brilliant,
well.
wouldn't it? Yeah.
It'd be great. Millwall, just because I quite like the game against Millwall that Leeds have every year. That rivalry is quite good. Hull, there's stacks of ex-Leeds players on that side already. Louis Coyle is in there. Joe Gallagher's having the season of his life there. So, yeah, it'd be nice to see them as well. Local derby as well. A local-ish derby. So, yeah, it's interesting. I still think we'll be okay, but I'm reluctant to pin my colours to the mast just yet at this point.
Do you think this is going all the way to round 38 then? I'm sure you don't want it to.
No, I really don't. I think if it goes to the last game of the season away at West Ham United, we possibly got a problem because Leeds haven't got a good record in London. And again, West Ham I don't think West Ham will go down. I think of all the sides down there, they're the one that's going to start moving again. They've closed that gap and they're performing really, really well. You can see that they've got players that are trying to get them out of trouble. Somerville's having a great season. If his injury's not too bad and he comes back, huge benefit for them. Jared Bowen's having a cracking second half of his season, so that helps them. Forest is the one for me. If you've the likes of Elliot Anderson and Morgan Gibbs-White who are maybe thinking about, I might just get a move this summer.
Spurs at the weekend as well, yeah.
Someone's dropping points. And that's why I think I've been saying all week, this is a huge week for Leeds. If we can beat Brentford at home, which won't be easy, they're having a phenomenal season. But if we can beat them at home, someone else is dropping points this weekend, guaranteed.
And Jed, doesn't that exemplify our point? The fact that, I mean, you know, I'm sure every football fan of a certain age, if you got them comparing Leeds United and Brentford, I think we know where the scales are going.
Yeah.
But if you stay in the Premier League in this era for 5 years, and if you're not there like Leeds were, look at the power differential, that there is now financially. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I've got humble pie to eat on Keith Andrews as well. I predict.
Oh, no, me too. Yeah.
I thought that they're done. They're absolutely done with him in charge, and he's had a phenomenal season, got a contract extension as well. So, yeah, it's a big couple of weeks. Then we've got Manchester United away, and then after that, we've got Burnley, Wolves, West Ham, Spurs, all the sides that we're in and around. And if we can get through these 2 weeks instead of a little gap, they're the games that Leeds need to go and win because they're the games that just pull you away from it completely. So, yeah, and then I hope we don't go to the last day of the season. We need 7-8 points, I think, in the next 8 games. And we could draw our way to it, but I would rather Daniel Farke just park the risk averseness that he tends to have at times and just go for it in the next couple of weeks and see what we can do. Especially the away games. One away win all season. We need another away win at least.
Who was that against, Joe?
Wolves.
Oh, okay.
So you're not exactly bragging with that one either. Like we've thrown a few points away late in games away from home. So yeah, it's been a bit of an issue. We tend to get ahead against teams away from home and then sit and then concede. And that tends to be the problem. Usually Villa as well was a late equaliser against Villa, Everton. There's been a few of them this season. So yeah, it's been a tricky one. Right, Ben, to wrap up, because I don't think too much more of your time, I want some bold predictions from you. coming into the end of the season. What 3 teams come up? What teams go down in the Championship? And then what teams go down in the Premier League? I want to get your third choice on this one.
Oh, crikey. Well, look, Coventry they literally need to win 2 games out of 8. So they're as good as up. I haven't done any of these yet. Let's just go with the current top 3, which means Ipswich might have to win at Wembley, which I just don't like the idea of at all. In the Premier League, as I've discussed, I think Burnley and Wolves will switch places, won't they? I think Burnley, unfortunately, going to end up finishing bottom, and Wolves, annoyingly for the teams that we've got to play them, are actually improving now. So those 2 will go. I mean, if it was Spurs, it would just be the biggest story going. But I just think they're going to get out of it. So I'll go Forest, which is bonkers now. And I will go. Well, definitely Lincoln and Cardiff. I don't know who's going to go for the top 3 as well. Bolton to win the playoffs in League One as well. But I will reserve the right to change my mind on a daily basis on any one of those predictions between now and the World Cup starting.
Absolutely. No, we're all the same for that. I'd love to see Lincoln go up to the Championship because Michael Scubala's managing them. Obviously,
he's done incredible. They may be the EFL team of the. I know Coventry have been amazing, but they have been class, Lincoln, haven't they? Yeah.
And they're punching as well. They're definitely punching above their weight a little bit with that as well. They've been Scubala obviously had a couple of games in charge of Leeds against Manchester United on a caretaker basis as well. We spoke to him on this channel as well. He's a really nice guy. Was he
pre-Bielsa, or did he come in?
He was caretaker between Jesse Marsh and Javi Grazia.
But he was on the staff with Bielsa, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was under 21 manager.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he came through Leeds. Well, didn't come through Leeds, but he came in from his futsal background, which is really fascinating as well. Like to have a futsal coaching background with England.
That, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a fascinating story. We did an interview with him on the channel, and we spoke about.
I wouldn't have got that from the way Lincoln play either.
Well, no, but he's got an interesting take on how he's brought that level of football and the detail that goes into futsal into 11-a-side grass football as well, which is fascinating as well. But yeah, he's a really nice guy. He's doing a cracking job for Lincoln as well. Did a really good job. He took over last year, the year before he took over. Got him on a really solid run as well. And he's brought them way up the table over the last couple of years as well. So yeah, I'd love to see him get promoted just from that perspective. He got a draw against Manchester United as Leeds manager as well. So he's got that under his hat. So not bad. Anyway, Ben, massive thanks. Really appreciate you coming in and educating us on the Championship. And again, folks, if you haven't checked out Ben's channel, you definitely should. There is nobody out there who does a better job of covering the EFL than Ben does. It's a fantastic channel and a fantastic asset for everyone to keep an eye on. Ben, appreciate you, mate. Thanks very much for coming in.
Pleasure. Loved it.
See you soon. Bye.